Hello, Internet! You know, with the Sonic the Hedgehog games being based around running around various places as fast as possible, for a while it wasn't exactly easy to take them with you. Shouldn't they be as mobile as him? Careful what you wish for. Nintendo's Game Boy was a massive success back in the 90s, taking the big experiences on home consoles and putting them on a system you could fit in your pocket. Sure, there were LCD handhelds before, but this was a big leap. Of course, other companies wanted to get involved in this market, resulting in the Atari Lynx and Sega Game Gear. These had full-color backlit screens, way better than the Game Boy, and somehow also way worse. You see, the Lynx and the Game Gear took 6 batteries and drained them in a few hours, while the Game Boy only took 4 batteries and made much better use of them. It also was a lot cheaper to buy, so it was the handheld that won out in the end. Even so, the Game Gear ended up with a wide variety of Sonic the Hedgehog games, a lot more than the more popular Sega Genesis. What kind of experiences are hiding in this thing? To start off, we have the Game Gear version of Sonic 1. At first it seems like a simple port of the first game, but it turns out that most of the zones are completely unique, including one with an auto-scrolling Act 2. This is painful. While the new aspects of the game are pretty cool, and I like some things even more than the console version, the screen crunch really holds it back, and you can't hold on to your rings, which is an important part of Sonic's gameplay. And unfortunately, the same issues continue to affect Sonic 2. I do appreciate that it tried to make a fully unique world, but there are gimmicks that aren't fun to control, and I wish Tails wasn't relegated to the opening screens. It seems like the people working on the Game Gear titles wanted to make something more original, which they did eventually get to do. I really had a lot of fun with Sonic Chaos. Unlike in the Game Gear version of Sonic 2, Tails is playable with different flight controls, and the game is overall a lot less punishing, with more continues and boss fights with rings. And it wasn't only platformers that they made either. Sonic Drift is a kart racer focused on drifting around bends, and while the horizon is pretty short, you can tell when one is coming up with the map on the top screen or signs. Not that there weren't still ports, of course. Sonic Spinball and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine were faithful if slightly compromised conversions, and these two are perfect little games to have on a portable system. But the original games must have done fairly well because they ended up getting sequels the following year. Both Sonic Triple Trouble and Sonic Drift 2 introduced a bunch of new characters and gimmicks, but I enjoyed Triple Trouble a lot more. With everything going on with the tracks, Drift 2 just felt fairly inconsistent and punishing. Now, what really interested me were the games starring Tails, because they're substantially different from Sonic's games. Sky Patrol might seem easy with cute Disney-like characters, but don't be fooled, it is brutal. I could barely get past the training level. My preferred Tails game is probably Adventure. It's a lot more slow-paced, but you have all these items to collect and experiment with, and a lot more hit points in the form of rings. I'd really like to see this idea revisited. And I'd prefer to never see these ideas again. You see, near the end of the Game Gear's life, Sega was working on a pseudo-3D Sonic game with isometric gameplay and pre-rendered sprites. That's a topic for another day, but they decided to use these elements on 2 other games. First was Sonic Labyrinth, an isometric game where Sonic moves really slow unless he's spin dashing. It's actually not as bad as it sounds once you learn to control your spin dashes, but it is annoying in boss fights when you can't jump. And finally, there's Sonic Blast, the only Game Gear platformer with a playable Knuckles. It's not even that difficult, but the sprites are so big it makes it hard to see where you're going or dodge things, and sometimes it just feels broken. Well, that's all the Game Gear Sonic games. The lineup is definitely a mixed bag, but it's more or less all the system was remembered for. I mean, what else do you have? Popeye Beach Volleyball? I wasn't expecting much, so I can't say I was disappointed.